to eat.
Hi, welcome to another edition of It's Time to Eat. I'm DeAndre, and this is...
Slayer.
No, she's not a slave. This is Elizabeth. As you can see, her festive apron. I don't know if the cameraman can get it, but we're just back from San Francisco, and this right here is a presentation of the greatness and the great time we had there. It was absolutely wonderful. You can go to our Facebook page and look at some of the photographs that we took with our crew there, Elizabeth, myself, John Paul, and Ethan, our music director for the show. And it's a great, great day in the neighborhood. We were late for Easter. We want to talk a little shit about that. First of all, Jesus stole my... No, I'm just kidding. We're going to do a special show on an Easter meal, Easter Sunday meal. We're going to show you how to cook and get that ham going, and we're going to show you how to put some glaze together with some of my secrets from the ghettos of Compton and the alleyways of Watts. We're going to show you how to put together my big sister's famous macaroni and cheese. I'm going to sneak and show you some of her secrets to that, and we're also going to be putting together some delicious garlic mashed potatoes. So we're going to do the glaze, the ham, the mashed potatoes, the mac and cheese, and I may give you a couple of pointers on how to dye some Easter eggs too. So you can do all this shit next year, because Easter is over. First of all, we're going to get the ham prepped. We're going to get this ham in the oven, right? We don't want to spend a whole lot of time fixing all the side dishes and then the meat's not ready. So I like getting the ham or the meat, the main meat of the meal, in the oven. I'm getting my pineapples ready. Can of pineapples. I don't get rid of the juice because I got a little secret I want to tell you about. Want to hear it? Here it go. No, I'm just kidding. A little Dave Chappelle there. Okay, so we're gonna, actually that wasn't Dave Chappelle, that was Living Color, the Waynans. Wow, I gotta get my famous black comedians together here. We're gonna get the ham ready. Now this ham is a 10-pound ham. By the time I get ready with it and decorating it and putting the brown sugar and whatnot on it, I usually try to keep this, it's a pre-cooked ham, so it comes from in the store like that, but it's still really good. Farmer John, I don't want to plug them, they're not a sponsor. And what that does is it gets me ready, so I'm going to have this in the oven for about almost 3 hours, 2.5 hours at least. I'm going to cook it slow though. I am not going to use the roasting cover for this roasting pan. I'm actually going to cover it in aluminum foil. First, let's get the prep work going. So you take a pineapple, sliced pineapple, right here, and then you get one toothpick and you post it up right here with the toothpick. So you take this cherry, and then you take another toothpick, and you put it in the middle here. And this is to add flavor to the meat. So it's not just a dry, you know me when it comes to dry food, I don't like it. And that's how it's going to work. Now Liz is going to do this all over the ham, and then we'll show you putting it in the oven. I'm going to show you how to prep this glaze for the ham. What I've done here is I've put in about half a cup of margarine. I don't use butter in certain parts of my recipes because butter clogs up that heart and stuff. And y'all saw my ass in the hospital, so I'm trying to do the right thing. So we've added that, and I'm also going to add about maybe, I'd say almost a half a cup of brown sugar. I eye it because I can tell. I've been cooking for years, so I know what it looks like. So I got about a half a cup of brown sugar and some margarine in there, and then I'm going to add some honey. Honey, let me tell you. This is honey. The bees come by here last night. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some fresh, delicious honey. I have to stay away from this honey. You talk about Winnie the Pooh. Black folks like honey too. And I'm gonna put this in there. And I'm gonna do about a quarter cup of honey in there. And if JP could get a close up on that, you can see the honey. Just so, I like saying it like that too. Honey, 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 I'm home. Honey, I'm home. Putting it in there, and I got it on a low flame. I don't want to cook it too fast. As you can tell when I cook, I like for things to kind of cook for a little while. Let things build in and kind of smoothly get together. Now, we're back here with the ham. Elizabeth has gone ahead and put the pineapple and cherry kind of presentation together. That flavor is going to cook into the ham. Another thing I like to do, my little secret, I'm letting y'all in on the secret. This is a secret, so don't tell anybody. I'm going to take this juice right here and I'm going to just pour it right over the ham with that brown sugar that you saw sprinkled over there. And then I'm going to take the remainder of the juice, if JP can follow me with the camera, and I'm going to add it to my little glaze that's cooking over here. This is going to help with the flavor of the ham. We do not want no dry ass ham. There's nothing worse than dry ass ham, but dry ass turkey on Thanksgiving. Dry meat makes my ass hurt. I don't like it. It just makes me sick. I can't stand it. So I try to butter it up or flavor it up, not with butter, but like margarine or olive oil or something. There's no reason for meat to be dry and nasty. You can captivate some of the heat and get it to cook in and just moisten up. I believe that if your meat is dry, you're lazy. And you know what? I'd rather not have you cooking my goddamn food. If you're that lazy and you gotta let the meat be all dry and stuff, that means you're not really thinking while you cook. You're just throwing shit together. Here we go. We're gonna wrap up the ham with some aluminum foil. Elizabeth is off camera handing me aluminum foil. And so I'm not gonna fight with this. She's smart. I usually only takes about 2 pieces of aluminum foil, about this long, to just sort of cover it up. And I'm kind of smothering this ham. It's kind of a technique that helps things come out more moist. Here we go. We're going on the bottom rack. The top rack is going to be making room for the mac and cheese. And look how fast this is going. This is not taking me all night. I'm moving it, baby. I gotta go. We're gonna prep and get ready with the potatoes. We're gonna be doing mashed potatoes. We've cut them in the little kind of round, fat belly kind of triangles. And we're gonna add them into some water that's already been warming up, but it's not at a boil yet. And the reason why I do it like that is because when I start getting these potatoes mashy and ready, I want to have kind of a rough texture to them. I don't want them to look like peanut butter and smushy and nasty. I like having a little vibrant, kind of a hunky, chunky, almost like a grits type texture to my mashed potatoes. Work all night and the morning sun, daylight come. She's been smashing these potatoes. And so I like, if we could get the camera in on close to the pot, I like how we have a little bit of the peel of the potatoes in this mashed potatoes. It gives it that kind of, we just cook these, boss, and kind of a look to it. And now I'm going to add the secret ingredient near the end of preparation, which is, of course, 1 huge tablespoon of wet garlic. Just adding it right in there. I might sneak a little bit in there extra. And as Liz adds that, I already added all the ingredients I showed you in the bowls. The parsley, the basil, the seasoning salt, the garlic salt, that shot of garlic, wet garlic, the garlic I just gave you, and then the vinegar without booze, no wine vinegar or any of that. I do not cook with alcohol. I want to add a little bit of our margarine or butter to this also, just kind of a little, kind of a butter spread type stuff that's natural. It's got like oil and not the actual, butter. I'm not anti-butter, but I know that butter is something that people are trying to deal with in regards to cholesterol. Me, I got to keep my cholesterol down. These potatoes, I know they're going to be delicious. I can just feel it in my spirit. There's certain things that I feel when something's going right with food. When I do these potatoes, I just feel that, that Easter. No, touch the screen. Can you touch? No. The Easter holiday meal is almost complete. All right, we're ready with the pasta. Liz is adding more pasta into our pan here. Liz, you're doing great. Keep doing that. Go on in there, baby. That's good. A couple of special ingredients with that. If you're looking at that up close, 2 beaten eggs, whole eggs. That's right, baby. It's Easter. Eggs are all over the place. We're going to stir that in. Liz is going to get me some of the margarine ready. She's going to come dump a whole bunch of that in here. Ladies and gentlemen, here she comes. Queen Elizabeth of all cookery. From the alleys of Watts and Middle Earth and Linux. Elizabeth is a staunch fan of the whole Lord of the Rings series. One day we'll give you a tour of her home where she resides, and she has these little Pez figures of Lord of the Ring characters. She's obsessed with it. In fact, if you look close enough, on certain days in her eyes, you can see the shadow of Frodo. Anyway, so there's the butter. There's the butter, or excuse me, my version of butter, which is actually margarine, a natural spread with healthy oils in it and not the actual cholesterol problem filled regular butter. Can of cheese soup. I've chosen a specific brand that I'm not going to promote, but let's just say it starts, see me winking? It starts meals and recipes very well. We're going to use 2 cans of that in here. The amount of pasta we have here is probably, roughly, I would say, around, oh gosh, at least 4 or 5 pounds of it. Hold on a second, we're answering the phone from one of our crew members. It's Ethan. What's this? Hello, Ethan, how are you? He hung up in my face. Wait, call him back. Let's get him on camera. So we're gonna stir that in, and it's really giving it a creamy texture. It won't be soupy, however, when it comes out of the oven. And the reason why it won't be soupy is because of a very sacred ingredient that my oldest sister taught me about, and it really adds a certain texture and kind of a cohesiveness to the actual pasta with that cheese. And that's going to be cottage cheese. Why not add cottage cheese to a cheese-filled macaroni and cheese meal or dinner, or not dinner, but part of a recipe? And we're adding that in. And we're also, oh, ladies and gentlemen, live, here we go. We have the musical director of our show here on camera here. It's Ethan. Hi, Ethan.
Hello.
How are you today?
Good.
Good. Are you, Ethan also bikes a lot. Are you biking here to the studio?
Really, go a couple places into the studio, quote unquote.
Okay, well, that's good. Bring your ass on over here.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you in a little bit. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so we add the cottage cheese. Okay, we're gonna add, of course, you know my favorite, 1 nice sized teaspoon of garlic. We're gonna get the same amount of seasoning salt in here, about 3 tablespoons. I'm gonna get about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. You know me and my vinegar, because it's not booze. 1/4 cup, not that much, maybe about 6 or 7 teaspoons of the vinegar. A little bit of seasoning, salt. Liz is gonna hand me the black pepper off camera, and I'm gonna stir this up, and I'm gonna show you how to get it in that oven and how to wrap it. And I'm gonna get some cheese too. We're gonna put that in there. I'm gonna put about 3 cups of cheese in there. It's grated and shredded cheese. Part of it, I'm adding about 3 or 4 tablespoons of pepper to wake up the flavor. I want to add a little bit of color to my mac and cheese. Most people don't do this, but I do. I don't even think my sister does this. But I add a little bit of parsley. All right, and now we're ready to go in the oven. We're gonna open it up. You can see that ham is still in there cooking. Ain't nobody bothering that ham. And now I'm about to put the mac and cheese. We have vegetarians here. So when there's a vegetarian around, I make sure that the meat's on the bottom because I don't want the meat sauce or juice dripping into the other side orders. So I always make sure that the meat is on the bottom when vegetarians are present. Any kind of a meat product or a meat part of the meal goes on the bottom part of the stove, or the oven rather. And then of course the mac and cheese is up here. That mac and cheese needs to cook for about an hour at least. No sooner than an hour, because I want that cheese to, you know me, flavor, texture. I want it to stick to the pasta, and it needs to cook that long, to kind of a baking type of a momentum to it. It needs to be about 164. So I will add the glaze, and I will cook the remainder of the ham uncovered, so it can get kind of a crusty, kind of a shield around it to close in on that goodness and that moisture. And look at that baby, look at the pretty woman walking down the street, pretty woman. Look at this fucking meat, pretty woman. Okay, so it goes in, right underneath that mac and cheese. Bye-bye. You see that coming off of there? That's really beautiful. What I'm gonna do is get a spoon and stir it up a little bit so you can see the flavor and how each part of the pan is covered with cheese. Look at that. Look at my spoon. See that cheese in there? That's what you want. You want to make sure that it's all over. This mac and cheese is primarily done, so I'm going to turn it down a little bit to keep cooking the top part of the ham and making sure that this mac and cheese doesn't burn. So I'm going to turn the oven down to 250 here. We have finished the potatoes. I want you to see how the potatoes are done. The fire is off, but I'm keeping them warm with my stove here. There's heat coming from the oven here, so I don't have to worry about them burning. But I don't want cold food when it's time to serve. So these potatoes are being kept warm. Would you look at the flavor here? Look at that. There's a little bit of color. There's a little bit of butter. And there's just a whole lot of those little parts of the potato where the brown kind of skin is in there. And oh my goodness, when you take a look, I'll show you how to eat it. Guess what? It's time to eat. I'm getting ready to put it all together for you. First we're going to do, load up on these mashed potatoes. They're ready. The flavor is there. You can see the color. All you need is one big old scoop. Watch it. Does it sound like I'm from the country? No. So we're going to do the potatoes first. I'm going into the middle because that's where I want it to really be done. See? And I was looking for 164. I got it up to like 180. So it's really well done there. I'm just looking at the outsides of it. I'm checking it out because before I serve it, I want it to be perfect. And we have a full plate here. And we did the biscuits. Now I'm going to give it a sample. You know me, I'm going to eat this in my mouth. Look at that, mac and cheese. Look at that. Oh my God, look at the flavor on those. I'm going to put this in my mouth.